Virelin Prime was quiet, too quiet. Floating in orbit above the green-blue planet, the science ship Harper's Reach blinked its signal light every 10 seconds. A beacon of peace. A message to the galaxy. We are explorers, not soldiers. It had been 5 years since Earth built its first research station on Virelin Prime. The planet had no weapons, no armies, and no reason for war. Only scientists and engineers, botanists who studied alien trees, technicians who tested soil and water, doctors who examined strange alien bacteria to find new cures. They had one rule: no weapons allowed. The world trusted Virelin Prime, and Earth, in its hope for peace, believed the galaxy would too. The broadcast it started as a normal day. A live broadcast was streaming from the surface to Earth. Children in classrooms were watching, curious about the strange flying birds and glowing plants. The camera showed a cheerful woman named Dr. Ellen Voss walking near the edge of a cliff. With alien vines glowing behind her, she smiled and said, "And here this flower glows brighter when it hears music." She hummed softly. The flower pulsed. The kids on Earth laughed. Then came the sound. A sharp crack, not thunder, but something mechanical. The camera shook. The peaceful jungle behind Ellen suddenly lit up with bright blue flashes. Explosions. Trees split in half. Lon's eyes widened. She turned. No, this isn't run. The feed twisted, dropped, and turned sideways. Screams running. Feet. A shadow tall, insect-like past the lens. Then static. The broadcast cut off. All across Earth. Children stared at frozen screens. Teachers tried to switch channels. Scientists at Mission Control shouted for someone to reconnect. There was nothing. Just silence. Then one message came. A deep, growling voice. "This was your warning, humans. You spread like a disease. Your flame must die before it burns the stars." Shock across Earth's the world changed in 1 hour. Newscasters argued on screen. Presidents held emergency meetings. Civilians protested outside Earth United Command in Geneva. The attack had no name, no flag, and no warning. Virelin Prime had no weapons. Everyone demanded the same thing. Who did this? But inside the dark war rooms beneath Geneva, a group of generals and scientists weren't asking who. They were asking something else. Is it time to wake the dragons? Silence in space. 3 days later, the military ship Argon's Edge was sent to the Virelin system. A search and recovery mission. Captain Lin Juno stood on the bridge, staring at the planet's green swirl below. "Begin scan," she ordered. The ship's AI responded. No life signs on the surface. Radiation pockets detected. Heat signatures. Minimal. Something burned everything. Juno clenched her jaw. Her younger brother had been stationed at the outpost. "Bring up the feed from orbit cams." The hologram flickered. It showed the attack from above. 3 dark ships entered Virelin's sky. It looked like long beetles, black metal with curved armor and glowing blue eyes. No identification. No transponder signals. They dropped something. Blue streaks of light hit the planet. Then came fire. It wasn't just an attack, it was cleansing. The debris clued the planet's orbit. Small wrecks floated silently. Pieces of satellites, burnt probes, and one broken enemy craft. Juno sent drones to pull it aboard. Engineers sliced it open. The tech inside was strange, part biological, part metal. Alien inscriptions. One shard had a symbol, a spiral claw around a red sun. An old intelligence officer gasped. "I've seen this before." He opened a database. The symbol matched. A file tagged Vakar Dominion, hostile contact classified. "They went dark over 70 years ago," he said. "No trade, no communication. They believe all other species are inferior and dangerous." Juno stared at the screen. "Looks like they think we're next." Earth's response. Back on Earth, the images hit the public like a shockwave. Footage of the destroyed lab, the alien ships, and Ellen Voss's final words spread across every screen. People didn't cry. They didn't panic. They got angry. Social media flooded with messages. "Bring them justice. We warned them Earth wouldn't take this. Time to show the galaxy who we really are." But Earth's leaders hesitated. They wanted peace, treaties, diplomacy, except one group didn't. They had been waiting for this moment. Project Dragon Deep, inside a hidden base on asteroid K-42. A man named General Riven Cole stood in front of a giant metallic door. He placed his hand on a scanner. Authorization. Dragonfire Protocol. The door opened behind it was something the galaxy hadn't seen. Not yet. A warship shaped like an ancient Earth dragon, sleek, armored with wings designed for solar gliding and claws built to tear through capital ships. Its core glowed red dot built in silence, funded in secret, powered by dark matter fusion. In stolen alien tech, it had one purpose: to strike fear. General Cole spoke to his cum. Prepare the pyreworm. The galaxy needs a reminder. The whisper that started a storm 2 days later, in a far-off spaceport on the edge of the neutral zone. A lone alien merchant received a strange message over his old radio. Just one line, no name, no source. It said, "Earth has woken the dragons." He froze, and like wildfire that whisper spread across planets, stations, and systems. 2 smugglers, 2 diplomats, 2 enemy spies. They all asked the same thing. What does that mean? But those who remembered Earth's past already knew it meant. This wasn't a war anymore. It was the beginning of vengeance. The silence didn't last long, just 6 days after the fall of Virulon Prime. A new signal was picked up near the orbit of Neptune, out in the far dark where Earth's scanners rarely focused. The patrol ship Falcon 9, one of Earth's oldest reconnaissance vessels, received the first ping. It wasn't human. It wasn't friendly. The enemy moves again inside the bridge of Falcon 9. Lieutenant Mariah Lane frowned at her screen. Multiple unknown contacts. Bearing 0-3-7. Coming fast. Captain Eli Rourke leaned over her shoulder. How many? She didn't answer at first. Her voice came out quiet. 15 ships, sir. Big ones. The crew froze. The Vakar Dominion had returned. Except this time, they weren't warning anyone. They were coming to kill. No time to run. The Falcon 9 was alone. A recon ship, lightly armored, no serious weapons. It's only a small railgun and 2 torpedoes for defense. Send out an alert to Earth Command, Rourke ordered. Full code red. Vakar assault incoming. The comms officer worked fast, but the enemy jammed the signal. A wall of noise burst through the speakers. Then the front viewport lit up. Blue plasma bolts streaked across the stars. The hull of Falcon 9 shook violently. Sparks flew. Nearby console exploded. "We won't make it out," Lane shouted. Rourke gritted his teeth. "Then we buy time. Fire everything. I mean everything." Desperate stand, the Falcon 9 launched both torpedoes. One slammed into a Vakar scout, breaking it apart. The railgun fired again and again, hitting armor but barely scratching it. The crew braced as plasma fire struck back. Deck 3 blew open. Fire raced through the corridors. One final torpedo was armed. It wasn't standard. It was a prototype payload, a gift from the mysterious Project Dragon. The weapon was called the Draconic Pulse. Rourke turned to Lane. "Get the crew to the escape pod. I'll trigger it." "No, I'm not leaving you. That's an order." Shh. Slammed the launch button. The first Rortha torpedo screamed through space. The Vakar. The flagship turned to intercept, but too late. The Draconic Pulse ignited. A flash of burning crimson light spread in every direction. A ripple of sound echoed through space, not in audio but in gravity. The nearby Vakar ships cracked, melted, shattered. 7 vessels vanished in one blast. The others fled in confusion. I'm sure what just hit them. The Falcon 9 was gone. But so, we're half the attackers. Earth, here's the roar, General Riven. Cole sat inside the war chamber at Geneva base. When the alert came through, he leaned forward as the AI displayed the battle report. Prototype weapon confirmed successful. The voice said, "Detonation signature matches Project Dragon." Cole nodded slowly. "They didn't expect fire from a scout ship," he murmured. Beside him, Admiral Sang added, "We have visual feeds from Vakar scouts." The ones that survived? They're scared. They think Earth's hiding monsters. Cole gave a rare small smile. They're right. The sky begins to shift across Earth's defense sectors. Whispers spread. One small ship. One prototype weapon. End. Half of Vakar fleet dash gone. Suddenly the planet didn't feel helpless anymore. The public didn't just demand revenge now. They believed in it. Posts went viral. One pulse, 7 kills. First strike. Last mercy. The dragons are real. Back in the black halls of the asteroid belt, in Shipyard Eco 7, a vast structure stirred. Inside it slept a machine with wings, scales of steel, and a heart made of dark matter. Its name, Pyrewarmth. Call to Fire Captain Rena Malos stood inside the launch hangar. Facing the Dragon Dash ship, she had trained 10 years for this moment. The AI link had already fused with her neural net. The ship recognized her voice, her pulse, even her dreams. "Are you ready?" a voice asked behind her. She turned to General. "Cole, I've been ready since Virulon burned." He nodded. "Then go. Show the Vakar what Earth has kept hidden." Message and fire 2 days later, a lonely Vakar relay station on the edge of Sector 9 picked up a strange reading. A large vessel entering restricted space. They sent a warning transmission. It was ignored. Then came the sound deep, natural, like a mechanical roar. The Pyreworm dropped from warp. Its wings glowed with solar reflectors. Its mouth opened. The plasma lance ignited. And in moments, the relay station once thought untouchable was reduced to ash. Fear begins to spread the message. Left behind was short. This is humanity's mercy. Across the Vakar Dominion, fear took root. They thought humans were soft. They believed Earth only knew peace and diplomacy. They were wrong. A legend had returned to the stars. A creature made not of flesh, but fury, and it would not stop. Not until the galaxy remembered what it meant to provoke Earth. The galaxy laughed at humanity's myths. Dragons, they said, were fairy tales. Creatures from ancient earth-winged fire-breathing, impossible. Symbols of fear, power, and fury. But now, they were real. The broadcast that shook the stars, the Vakar Dominion had tried to silence Earth. They destroyed the peaceful colony on Virulon Prime. They ambushed the patrol ship, Falconin. But Earth answered with something no one expected. A dragon, the Pyreworm. Its debut, strike obliterating. A Vakar relay post in Sector 9 wasn't just military, it was psychological. Across deep space comes, survivors screamed of a ship that looked alive, that roared like a monster and breathed fire. At first, the galaxy assumed it was propaganda, till the footage leaked. Someone aboard the Vakar relay station had managed to upload 6 seconds of video before the beam hit. The clip showed a vast winged ship breaking through the stars. Scales of metal, eyes glowing like molten gold. It opened its jaw and released a plasma firewave that melted the entire camera array. 6 seconds. That's all it took to terrify half a sector. Fear spread, strayed routes shut down, neutral colonies. Cancelled Earthship docking permissions for safety reasons. Even pirate fleets retreated from human zones. The whispers began. Earth has dragons. They built monsters. We made a mistake provoking them. Across the Vakar Dominion, old elders remembered their species' first war with humanity. 70 years ago. Back then, Earth had been desperate, young, struggling to find its place in the stars now. It had stopped trying to fit in now. Earth had transformed. Inside the beast, Captain Rena Malos stood inside the neural core of Pyrum. Room was circular, filled with slow-moving red lights. Cables pulsed like veins. The floor felt warm, alive. The voice of the ship deep, ancient calm spoke directly into her mind. Threat detected. Long-range Vakar probe vessel. Distance, 90,000 kilometers. Shall I strike? She smiled. Not yet. Let them see us. Let them run. The ship paused, then responded. Understood. TER protocol, hunt without kill. Project Dragon revealed back on Earth, the secret was no longer secret. The The president of the Earth Federation stepped onto a podium surrounded by generals and fleet admirals. She spoke only 3 sentences. We did not want war, but we will never kneel. And yes, our dragons are real. That short speech was broadcast across 72 alien systems. The message was clear. Earth had not created war machines. They had forged symbols, ships shaped like the fear their enemies once mocked. Ships designed not just to destroy but to remind the stars that humanity had teeth. Birth of the Dragon Fleet. Pyreworm was only the beginning. In hidden shipyards, scattered through the asteroid belt in deep Jupiter orbit, more Dragon-class ships were being awakened. Each one had a name pulled from Earth's oldest legends. Ironscale, built for defense and siege. Blazettalon specialized in stealth and planetary assault. Stormfang, focused on warp-jump raids. Each ship was unique. Each one was bonded to a captain through Neuralink protocols. Each had a voice, a will, a mind. They were something new, not quite machine, not quite man-made. As one designer whispered, we didn't build them, we woke them. The Vaca responded. The Dominion was not quiet. They issued an ultimatum to Earth, shut down the Dragon Fleet. Return to your borders, or we will erase your kind. Earth answered in 6 words, come try. We'll be waiting. And then the Pyrum vanished, not destroyed, not recalled. Simply left known space, going dark. But it was not hiding. It was hunting. First hunt, first warning. A small Vakar convoy passed through a mining sector near the edge of the Perseus cluster. No military ships. Just cargo and escort. It never arrived. A few hours later, their escort ship was found floating its systems offline. No damage, no crew. Only one message was carved into its hull by a high-heat plasma blade. Do not enter human space. The message wasn't just in Galactic Standard. It was written in Vakar script, not an ancient dialect no human should have. Known, the Dominion panicked. Allies or enemies, not all alien species hated Earth. Many watched from a distance. Unsure, the Zari Confederation, neutral traders with peaceful history, sent an encrypted message to Earth's command.
We are not.
Your enemies? But we ask why dragons? Why fire? Why fear? General Revan Cole responded with brutal honesty, because peace only works when you're not seen as prey. That line spread just as fast as the dragon's footage, and in silence, a dozen smaller alien worlds quietly reached out to Earth for protection. The galaxy wasn't choosing sides yet, but it was thinking. The legend grows in human schools. Children now study the Dragon Fleet like ancient heroes. Artists painted massive murals of the Pyreworm flying over Earth. A new anthem played on every military base. Let them call us monsters. Let them call us fire. We will answer with fury. And deep in space, the Pyreworm floated alone, watching its captain waited. Its weapons charged slowly, because somewhere ahead, another Dominion attack group was forming. And the next time they struck Earth, they wouldn't find scientists. They would find dragons. Black Point Station wasn't on any official map, carved into the dead moon of Kareth 5, buried deep beneath iron crust and thick shielding. Black Point was the Vakar Dominion's most secure base in the outer sectors. There were no windows. No. Open channels. No names. Only silence and power. It was where the Dominion planned its war, where their scientists built viral weapons meant for humans, where they believed no enemy could ever reach. But they made one mistake. They forgot dragons don't. Knock inside the fortress, the interior of Black Point Station was cold and dim, lit by flickering blue lights and guarded by heavy drones. General A. Thoric Vesh of the Vakar stood over a large holographic display of Earth's space. His claws tapped against the table, zooming in on Mars, Luna. Titan. These humans advance too fast. He growled to his second-in-command. We must break their spirit before more of these things are built. You mean the dragons? The officer said bitterly. They are ships, Vesh snapped. No more than steel and arrogance. But even he hesitated at the footage of Pyreworm melting a convoy in one blast. Still, he believed in numbers. In control. In shadows. And Black Point was deep in shadow. Or so he thought. The hunt. Begins Blazilin had been following Blackpoint's hidden supply routes for over a week. Unlike Pyreworm, it didn't attack from the front. It stalked. It listened. It studied, Captain. Daxmori sat in its neural chamber, eyes closed, thoughts merged with the ship's targeting systems. I see their entry tunnel, the ship whispered in his mind, heavily shielded, but not fireproof. Then we melted, Dax replied, like carving open a tin can. The breach at 3:42 Earth Standard Time. Blackpoint Station's seismic sensors detected a tremor from above. No warning, no comes, just a low vibration. Growing louder, then came the sound, a roar that vibrated through the moon's rock itself. The roof above the command room cracked. A beam of superheated plasma tore through 15 meters of rock and durasteel, punching straight into the main reactor level. Explosions followed. Fire swallowed corridors. Emergency lights blinked out one. By one, the station shook. Alarms wailed. Screaming filled the COMMs. General Vesh grabbed a rail to stay upright. Where's the breach? Who's breaching? A panicked officer shouted. It's a ship. Batit's not using Vicar designs. It's shaped like a creature. The Dragon descends Blazilin dropped onto the moon's surface, landing on Claude's stabilizers, its massive body coiling with heat and fury. Its underbelly opened. A dozen drones poured out, teat shaped like miniature dragons. Fast and sharp, they slipped into vents, slicing through doors, uploading viruses into the station's systems. One by one, Blackpoint's defenses fell. Turrets spun in circles, targeting. Systems blinked out. Inside the command room, monitors showed static and fire. Then one screen lit up. It displayed a single message. You chose war. Now burn with it. Fire in the heart, Captain Dax. Mori gave the final order. Send the Talon. Lance. From Blazetalan's jaw, a narrow beam of concentrated fusion plasma fired straight into Blackpoint's power core deep underground. It didn't explode, not at first. Instead, it melted. Layer by layer, the heat broke through shielding and coolant tanks. Steam hissed through tunnels, walls cracked from pressure. General Vesh tried to evacuate, screaming into comms that no longer answered. Then it happened. The core failed. A burst of red fire erupted from the surface of the moon, like a volcano waking. Up, the explosion was visible from 2 sectors away. Echoes. Through space, 2 Dominion cruisers nearby tried to respond, but by the time they arrived, the base was gone. A smoking crater remained where Blackpoint once stood. The only thing floating above the moon was Blazetalan, still glowing red, wings outstretched like a god of war. A single encrypted message was sent from the ship to Dominion. High Command, this is what happens when you test Earth's patience. Then Blazetalan vanished into stealth mode and disappeared into the void. The galaxy reacts. The destruction of Blackpoint wasn't just military, it was symbolic. The Dominion's strongest fortress got. Its secret weapons program erased its command. Staff vaporized. Alien news networks across multiple species replayed the explosion for days. Pundits debated. Traitors panicked. Even criminal factions avoided Earth space. The message was clear. Earth's dragons weren't there to talk. They were there to end threats. Inside the Dominion and Vakar Prime, Emperor Zhevok stood in silence as he watched the footage. He clenched his fist. Our arrogance blinded us, he hissed. These humans, they were never soft. They were just waiting. A general beside him asked, "Shall we pull back forces? Reinforce our homeworld?" Zhevok shook his head. "No, we retaliate. Strike next." His voice dripped with fury. "Let them come. We'll crush their beasts in our own skies." But deep inside, even Zhevok wondered, what if the dragons don't stop? Back on Earth, at Shipyard Eco 7, Stormfang was awakening. Another Dragon-class warship, this one faster, sharper, meant for hit-and-run raids, deep behind enemy lines. General Riven Cole watched its systems power up. He turned to Admiral Sangday. "Burned our colony, so we burned their stronghold. What's next?" Asang answered. "We go deeper. Cole nodded. Time for them to realize we're not holding back anymore. Fear can burn faster than fire. Fire destroys buildings, but fear destroys empires. And after the burning of Black Point Station, the Vakar Dominion realized they had lit a match they couldn't put out. A whisper on every world, the destruction of Black Point wasn't just news, it became legend. Alien travelers spoke in hushed tones across trade hubs and markets. The dragon melted a moon. It walked through war shields like paper. Black Point didn't fall. It was devoured. And most terrifying of all, the humans didn't even send their biggest dragon. The name Blazetalon spread like wildfire, but no one knew how many dragons Earth had left. Was it 3, 5, 10? No one knew, and that uncertainty became the Dominion's new nightmare. Inside the Fire Council, Lemperjevic of the Vakar sat in the heart of his war chamber. 10 generals stood in a circle, watching flames flicker across the holomap of the galaxy. The Dominion had ruled for centuries through fear, but now fear belonged to the humans. One general, Uraktsu, slammed his fist down. We must strike Earth. Directly, a show of power. Another shook her head. No, Earth wants that. They'll unleash all their dragons. We'll lose everything. Shevok narrowed his eyes. What about their borders? Mars Titan. Hit their outer rings. Pick them. Bleed from the edges. They voted. The plan was made, a multi-pronged strike into the Sol system. But what they didn't know was that Earth had already prepared a trap. The listening ship far from Earth, hidden near a gas giant in the outer void, the human stealth frigate Ghostwind, intercepted the Dominion's encrypted COMMS. It wasn't a ship built for war. It was built for silence. Commander Nia Rourke, sister of the late Captain Eli Rourke, stood in the dark, listening. She didn't speak for hours. Then finally she whispered, "They're coming. Titan. Europa. Even Mars orbit." Her comes officer. Nodded. They're spreading their forces too thin. Yes. Eyes glinted. Perfect. Let's light the trap. She sent one signal to Earth Command. Unleash the wings. Operation Fire Curtain Earth had been planning it for weeks. The Dragon Fleet wasn't just about destruction, it was about timing. Using old solar flare data, Earth Command calculated where Dominion ships would warp in and laid mines, cloaked drones and decoy fleets in those regions. When the Vakar ships arrived, they were welcomed not by panic, by the open mouths of 3 dragons. The hunt begins Zeron scale emerged from Saturn's rings, like a rising god. It was larger than Blazetalon, with thick armored plates and dual plasma jaws. Its tail housed a magnetic accelerator cannon. VAI, KR forces heading for Titan. Had no warning, the space around them twisted, and then boom. 3 ships exploded in the first second. 2 more were crushed by Ironscale's tail cannon. The rest tried to flee, but drones shaped like tiny flying serpents pursued them into warp. None escaped. Europa's illusion, meanwhile. Near Europa, Stormfang struck silently. The Vakar expected a battle. Instead, they arrived. And nothing moved. No humans. No defenses. Just a quiet, frozen moon. They split their ships into search teams. That's when Stormfang attacked. Cloaked in stealth fields, slid between their formations one by one, cutting power systems with precision plasma beams. No fire, no drama, just silent death. By the time the Vakar realized, half their fleet had vanished from the map, and when they tried to run, Stormfang decloaked above them, unleashed its lightning pulse, and erased the rest in a blinding flash. The roar over Mars, the largest fleet attacked, Mars orbit over 50 ships. But Pyreworm was waiting. Captain Rena Malos didn't hesitate. Full burn. Let them see what fear really is. Pyreworm lit up like a star, its wings spread, reflecting solar energy into blinding plasma arcs. Its roar shook comes across the planet. Dominion ships. Scattered, some turned to fight. Most tried to run. None succeeded. Panic. Inside the Dominion 3 battlefronts, 3 total losses, hundreds of ships. destroyed no human casualties. Within 24 hours, the Vakar suffered their greatest military defeat in history. Even Jevik couldn't hide the truth. The Dominion's military had holes, and those holes were filled with fire. Now, rumors spread through his own ranks. Deserters, mutinies, fear even. His admirals began whispering, "We need peace. We woke something too big. This isn't war, it's extinction." Fear takes a new form, but the dragons didn't just fight with weapons. They fought with presence. On every major Vakar world, encrypted holograms began appearing. Glitches in the comms, strange shadows on security feeds. Then, a message, "We see you. We're closer than you think. You had your warning." No one knew how these messages got through their secure systems, but they did. And with every passing day, more Dominion officers asked the same question. What if we can't stop them? Meanwhile, on Earth didn't celebrate. There were no parades. No. Speeches, only preparation. Because General Riven Cole knew the truth. They'll attack again. Probably their home fleet. All or nothing, Admiral Sang nodded. Then we take the fight to them. Cole turned to the war room where the final. Dragon stood ready, Skyrage. Built for one mission. Strike Vakar Prime. It was time. The Vakar were done hiding after losing their fleets at Mars, Europa, and Blackpoint. The Dominion gathered what remained of its armadas. Hundreds of warships, dreadnoughts, interceptors, carriers, their finest admirals. This time, they weren't probing Earth's defenses. This time, they weren't testing humanity. They were trying to end it. Target. Titan Colony Titan was Earth's jewel in the outer system. A thriving, floating colony suspended in Saturn's thick atmosphere. Fuel refineries, AI labs, military R&D hidden deep inside its rings. It was defended, yes, but lightly compared to Earth or Mars. That made it the perfect target. The Dominion believed it would break humanity's spine. They were wrong. The calm before the storm inside Titan's command center. Alarms began to sound. Admiral Kenavos stood beside her officers as hundreds of red dots appeared on the holomap. All enemy, her XO said quietly. Estimate, 200+ ships. Voss didn't flinch. Any dragons in range? No, ma'am. Pyreworm is still tracking enemy movements near the belt. Stormfang's gone dark. She nodded. Then we hold. Someone in the room swallowed. Hard? Until what? She didn't smile. Until Skyridge wakes up. The Vakar descend. The Dominion fleet emerged from warp just outside. Saturn's orbit. Dark, sharp, endless. They ignored diplomatic channels. No threats. No warnings, just weapons armed. They began their approach tight formations. Electronic jammers active. Pulse cannons spinning up. Inside the lead Vakar dreadnought, Commander Rex spat at the screen. Crush their colony. Leave. No survivors. Below them, Titans spun slowly through the haze of Saturn's golden rings. The firestorm begins. The Vakar opened fire. Massive plasma barrages rained down on Titan's upper defenses. Satellite shields cracked. One orbital platform exploded in a flash of blue flame. Ground-based railguns returned fire. Missiles launched in counterstrikes. But Earth's weapons were outnumbered 10-1. Titan's command shook. Consoles sparked. One wing of the colony lost power and tumbled into atmosphere. Admiral Voss stared at the damage. Time, she asked. Her XO checked. Skyraj will reach strike range in 82 seconds. Enter the dragon from behind Saturn's rings. Something moved, not a ship, a shadow. Wings wider than any destroyer. A body wrapped in obsidian armor and solar-charged scales. Eyes glowing like twin novas. And at its center, an Earth core reactor. Spinning, pulsing, humming with rage. Skyrage. The last and most advanced of the Dragon fleet. Built in secret, deployed for one mission. Total annihilation. The Sky Roar Skyridge didn't send a warning. It dropped. Directly into the Vakar rear flanked, unleashed its storm. Lightning plasma erupted from its maw. Arcing through the black of space like a serpent of raw energy, 3 Dominion cruisers exploded instantly. 2 more were hit mid-turn and torn apart by sonic gravity pulses from Skyrog's wings. The Vakar fleet turned in panic, but Skyrog was already in the middle of them, spinning, firing, ripping, fear. On the front, Commander Rex stared at his dying fleet. Where did it come from? He roared. It was inside the rings. Someone shouted, "Ah, we never saw it." It looks like the officer never finished. Skyrog's tail cannon tore through their ship like it was made of glass. One more explosion, another silent scream in the void. The rest of the Vakar began to run, but Skaruj wasn't just built for fire. It was built for chase. Titan fights back with Skaruj in the lead. Titan's defense systems reactivated. Drones poured from underground vaults. Railguns locked onto fleeing targets. Missiles painted the sky like a storm of vengeance. Admiral Voss stood firm, burned them all. Titan's AI activated scorched earth protocols. Satellites crashed into fleeing carriers. Stealth mines detonated across escape routes. Not one Vakar ship made it out. Silence when the smoke cleared. Saturn's orbit was filled with drifting wreckage. Hundreds of enemy ships. Scorched. Broken. Dead. At the center of it all, Skyridge hovered silently, wings outstretched. Body steaming from the heat, Admiral Voss activated her channel. To all surviving systems, Titan stands. The fire is ours. Back on Vakar, Prime Emperor Zhevek watched the live report in disbelief. His admirals were silent. His entire strike force gone. He turned to them, voice trembling with fury. "We send everything. All fleets. All weapons. All fire." A whispered one general. "They'll be waiting." Zhevek turned slowly. "Then we strike Earth directly. No more flanks. No more fear. We crush their homeworld." Earth answers in Earth Command. General Revan Cole stood beside the War Council. "They're coming," he said. "Yes." Admiral Sang replied, "For Earth. For all of it." Cole nodded. "Then let's bring the full storm." Last 2 dragons were already warming up. One was a mystery even to Earth's enemies. The other hadn't been tested. But Earth wasn't waiting anymore. This was it. The Dominion had lost fleets, generals, and fear. Now they came with everything. Their last chance, their full strength, their pride, their target. Earth itself, they called it Operation Earthfall, and humanity activated the final step, Earthfall Protocol. The sky darkens across every telescope and orbital scanner in the Sol system. A terrifying sight unfolded. Hundreds of Vakar ships exited warp from above Jupiter, from the Oort cloud, from hidden folds in space-time. Massive dreadnoughts, planet-killer cannons, nanite war swarms, all coming straight for Earth. The enemy wasn't just attacking. They were coming to erase humanity inside. Earth Command General Revan Cole stood in the war room, surrounded by holofeeds of approaching fleets. "They've committed to total war." Admiral Sang said, "Then we give them what they came for," Cole replied. A third voice entered the room, calm, cold, almost ancient. "I assume it's time." Everyone turned. Project, Wiramgate had spoken. It wasn't a person. It was a voice inside the quantum supercore below Antarctic Earth's oldest and deepest secret. Cole nodded. "Activate Earthfall Protocol. Unleash the final dragon."
Oh.
Dragon wakes beneath the crust of Antarctica. Buried in a sealed vault called the Hollow Core, something stirred. It had no wings. No weapons on the outside. It didn't breathe fire. Because it was fire, the name was simple. Oblivion. A planet core-powered entity. Half AI, half living plasma intelligence. It had waited 70 years in silence, locked away after Earth's last great war. Because once unleashed, Tit did not stop. The war begins over Earth. The Dominion reached orbit, bombardment cannons charged. Their lead general Hector grinned inside his command vessel. No defenses, no counterfleet. They're cowering. Raised his arm. Fire. A massive salvo of fusion torpedoes shot toward Earth. Thousands, but they never reached the ground because the sky caught fire from the upper stratosphere. Earth's hidden defense layer ignited. Project SkyMaw plasma grid embedded in Earth's magnetic field turned the torpedoes into molten gas. Then, Earth's true defenders arrived. The dragons returned from Mars, from Titan, from Neptune's shadow. The dragon fleet returned all of them. Pyreworm, Skyrouge, Ironscale, Blazettalon, Stormfang, and now Oblivion. They emerged like vengeful gods, each. One carrying captains bound by mind and fury. Captain Rena Mallows of Pyreworm said one line on Open Comes, "You had your chance. This is ours." The dragons roared in unison, and the battle began. Orbit of Fire, the Dominion's numbers were overwhelming. But the dragons didn't fight like ships. They moved in arcs, in sweeps. In rage, Blazettalon dove through enemy lines, slicing cruisers apart with heat lances. Stormfang blinked in and out of warp, assassinating Dominion command ships in seconds. Skyrouge turned a full battle group into ash. In under 30 seconds with its Thunderbeam, Ironscale absorbed torpedoes and returned them, with interest using its magnet core to launch entire ships back into each other. Pyreworm danced like a phantom of fire, and in the center of it all floated Oblivion. What is Oblivion? The Dominion didn't understand it. Oblivion didn't fire weapons. It drank energy. Every blast that hit it plasma, antimatter. Dark energy was pulled into its core. Then it grew brighter, bigger, hotter, until it became a burning star in low orbit. A single voice from Oblivion echoed into all Vakar comes. "You chose extinction. I accept." Then it released the pulse. A shockwave of gravitational heat exploded outward. It didn't destroy ships. It emptied them. Every AI, every energy system. Every neural interface burned out instantly. Over 300 Vakar ships died without being touched. The rest, crippled, useless, floating. Desperation inside the lead dreadnought. General Hector screamed, "We need ground troops, now." He launched shuttles, drop pods, war beasts. But Earth was ready, and so was the Hollow Guard. Earth fights back for the first time. The people of Earth saw what their secret defense program had built. Autonomous mech giants standing hundreds of feet tall, powered by fusion engines. Troopers in neural-linked armor, running faster than sound, wielding magnetically accelerated weapons. Cyber titans with shields made of kinetic airfields. And above them, dragons. Dragons, descending through the clouds, lighting the battlefield with rage. It wasn't a war. It was a massacre. Inside the dragon core in orbit, Rena Mallows stood at Pyreworm's control core. Oblivion's losing control, her XO warned. "It's burning too fast. We knew this could happen. What do we do?" She looked at Earth glowing below, then at the crippled Dominion ships above. She whispered, "Let it burn." Oblivion's final gift, Oblivion, began to collapse into itself. Not a reactor failure, something deeper. It became a singularity, a weapon of gravity, not fire. A controlled black hole. The Dominion tried to flee, but they couldn't. A final voice echoed across every Dominion frequency. "You provoked the dragons. You summoned fury. Now drown in it." And then everything ended. Silence. The stars were quiet. The battlefield was dust. Earth stood untouched, and the dragon fleet hovered above, glowing. But wounded, back on Vakar Prime, the once proud homeworld of the Dominion was now silent. No messages, no fleets, no generals, just reports from broken survivors. The dragons had not destroyed their planet, but they had destroyed something worse. Hope Earth. Watches the Stars General Riven Cole stood alone in the observation tower of Earth Command. The stars glittered above him. Admiral Sang entered quietly. "It's over," he said. Cole nodded. "No, it's changed." He turned to the sky. "They know now. Earth is not prey. Earth is not polite. Earth is fire." And far above them, The dragons circled in the dark watching, waiting, because dragons don't rest, they guard. War ends with silence, not celebration, not music, not cheering, just silence. Because when a species fights to survive and wins, what comes next is never peace, it's memory, and across the galaxy. Everyone remembered the dragons, the ruins of Dominion Vakar. Prime was no longer the center of power. Its orbital docks floated dead. Its halls of government were empty. The surviving nobles whispered in shame, hiding behind private armies. Their fear was no longer of rebellion, but of Earth. No retaliation came, no follow-up fleet, no conquest, because Earth had already won. They hadn't destroyed the Minion's capital. They had destroyed its will. No one feared the Emperor anymore. They feared the roar of Earth's dragons, the new ordering, the months after Earthfall. An emergency summit was held on neutral ground, a moon station orbiting Kyle as -9.60-7 species. Attended, most had once mocked humans. Others had stood aside. Few had offered quiet support, but none expected what entered the chamber. General Revan Cole, Captain Rena Malos, Admiral Kenavos, and behind them, Skyridge's live projection, wings curled behind the delegates like a god watching ants. Revan Cole didn't offer demands. He offered a warning. We don't want war. We never did. But if any power threatens Earth, or its colonies, or its allies, know this, we will respond, and the dragons will fly again. The room stayed silent. Even the boldest species said nothing. Because what answer do you give to fire itself? A galaxy changed soon. Strange things began happening across the stars. Pirate clans abandoned human shipping lanes entirely. Vakar colonies declared independence, swearing neutrality to Earth. Small species, once ignored, petitioned for human protection. In less than a year, the Human Accord was formed in alliance of Earth and over 30 outer systems. But it wasn't Earth's weapons they respected. It was Earth's message. We do not start the war, but we will end it. And everywhere the dragons had flown, planets remembered the heat. The legends begin on trade stations and frontier colonies. People told stories. I saw a pyreworm dive through an enemy fleet and melted in seconds. Stormfang appeared out of nowhere and whispered in the enemy's comes before vanishing. Oblivion wasn't a ship. It was a living star. Artists painted murals. Children played games where they flew dragon ships. A new generation of alien youth looked up at the sky and wondered, what if I could serve on one? Even some alien engineers tried copying the designs. They failed, because Earth's dragons weren't machines. They were forged with fire, with history, with blood. A visit from a stranger one day. In Earth's farthest colony on Tarsus 3, a small alien delegation arrived. 3 elders from a once hostile species, the Drekri. They bowed before the colony governor, not in surrender, but in respect. One of them said, we came to understand your fire. We were taught that humanity was weak. The dragons were myths. But we have seen your skies burn. We wish to learn, to follow. Not because we fear you, but because we believe in what you've become. The message reached Earth in under an hour. An admiral sang, still scarred from battle, smiled for the first time in years. Then let's teach them. Show them what dragons really are. The last dragon sleeps in Antarctica, deep beneath the ice. Ow. The vault that once held oblivion was sealed again, not because it was broken, but because Earth hoped it would never be needed again. Its core slept, quiet, cold, until the day the stars screamed once more. Captain Rena's final flight, Captain Malos, stood on the observation deck of Pyreworm, orbiting Earth, her hands behind her back. Her thoughts quiet. She had fought in 3 wars, burned fleets, saved billions. Now, the galaxy was watching Earth not as a threat, but as a keeper, and that made her proud. We're not dragons because we destroy, she said once to a young officer. We're dragons because we protect, because no one will ever silence Earth again. Earth looks ahead, in Earth command. General Riven Cole wrote his final log. The war is over, but the stars will never be the same. Humanity earned its scars, and with every scar came fire. Dominion believed we would break. Instead, they taught us to roar. And in every corner of the galaxy, that roar echoed still, not in fear, but in remembrance. Epilogue. Across the stars. Years later, on a distant alien world, a teacher told a story to younglings. Long ago, the stars shook. A great empire tried to erase a small world, but they forgot one thing. Dragons are born in silence. But when they fly, the whole galaxy burns. The students leaned forward. Was it real? One asked. The teacher smiled. You'll know the truth the day one flies over your world. And when it does, pray it's there to protect you. Above them, high in the sky, a streak of fire moved across the stars, a shadow with wings, and the galaxy remembered their roar.